Is there any other way of viewing this, Sheriff?
No, there isn't. We've been lied to from the very beginning. The politicians, California politicians, the mayor of Los Angeles, our governor, have completely failed in that nothing was happening in the beginning. It was allowed to spiral out of control, and then they have created this narrative that completely defies facts and a timeline that we know happened. And they keep calling it a peaceful protest, mostly peaceful, whatever they want to call it. But the reality is that law enforcement officers are being attacked, property is being destroyed, and it is out of control violence that really they're trying to deny for political gain.
Yeah, and Sheriff, I asked that first question on if it's helpful to have the National Guard and the Marines on the ground, because Gavin Newsom has gone to the courts and tried to get them to no longer be able to be deployed. How do you feel about that if you say that their presence of them is helpful?
It's nothing but childish games. Our governor would rather fight and argue with the president than do something about Los Angeles. And the reality is the National Guard, they could have been deployed immediately, because time and time again, we see that these spiral for 1, 2, 3 days in a row, and then you're behind the 8 ball trying to catch up. When you do it in the beginning with an overwhelming show of force, these criminals that are coming out just to destroy, they don't show up because they know there's going to be a consequence. But this is 20 years in the making of Governor Gavin Newsom's policies that have enabled criminals to do this in the first place. This is just natural for us.
To follow up on something you just said about how you would respond, admittedly, Los Angeles, much bigger than Riverside, the main city in your county. But if these riots had erupted in Riverside or in Palm Springs, Palm Desert, or someplace like that, what would you have done to stop them? And if ultimately it got out of control, would you have welcomed help from the Trump administration with open arms?
Well, absolutely. And the thing is in 2020, it did happen. The same thing that happened in Los Angeles spilled into Riverside, and we handled it completely different than them. We handled it with an overwhelming show of force where we ended what they were doing immediately, and it disappeared. And what happened was the rest of law enforcement said, oh, look what they did. It worked. And so Los Angeles followed suit, and they were able to stop theirs within 2 days after ours. So there's already a playbook. You do not allow them to escalate and then bring more reinforcements into the criminal behavior. It's nothing but criminals that are enabled to do criminal behavior, and if they're allowed, they will continue and they will get bigger in numbers. If you stop it in the beginning, then it goes away. That's how things should be done. Any cop on the street will tell you exactly how they can make it end. But somehow, as you rise up through the leadership ranks, they can't make those decisions at the top because politics get involved. The mayor gets involved. The governor gets involved.
Yeah, well, arrests last night ramped up because now there's a curfew in place. Why it took 5 days to implement that curfew is a question that I'm sure will be asked today. And also, Sheriff, there are a lot of people who are being impacted by these riots. We saw it in 2020, and now we're seeing it again. There is one jewelry store owner who's a migrant himself who said that his business was completely destroyed. Other stores are getting looted in this area. So talk to us a little bit about that and the human impact of what's going on.
It's huge. Downtown Los Angeles is an enormous magnet for business all day long. And I mean, you know what our freeways are. Our freeways are just really an absolute mess on a good day. So when you bring thousands of protesters in to block freeways, to stop freeways, that impacts everyone's day. Where businesses are closing, businesses have to close, people can't make it to work. It's a major impact for all of Los Angeles.
Yeah, I don't think people maybe in a different part of the country understand when you shut down the 101, you shut down basically the entire Southland, because the 101, to your point, Sheriff, on a good day, the 101 is a disaster. This was a bad days or a series of bad days. And so thank you for making